Was the Knicks season a success? Now, there's a clip of Jalen Brunson following Game 7. He was asked if this season for the Knicks was a success, and he quickly answered saying no, it was not a success. Now, of course, that is the response you want from your leader. This Knicks team obviously had a tough postseason with lots of injuries, and he just overlooked that and said, no matter what, we should have done better. We should have gone further. Now, this season for the Knicks was definitely a success, but it also could have gone a lot better. For example, the Knicks made a few roster moves over the season that greatly improved their team. These moves included signing Dante DiVincenzo in the offseason, bringing in OG Anunoby and Precious Achiuwa in a trade with the Toronto Raptors. All these moves greatly improved their depth and moved them from a playoff team to a conference contender. Now, if this team managed to stay healthy, they probably would be in the conference finals right now. But injuries are a part of the game, and the Knicks know this. Nobody on their team blamed the injuries as to why they lost. They just came in and fought their hardest every single night, and that's why, with half their rotation out during the playoffs, they still managed to go to the second round and to 7 games. Now, we'll quickly talk about their playoff run, and then we'll take a look at what they can achieve in the future. Now, this team had some of the best playoff basketball in this postseason. They were so fun to watch. They had great team basketball, very unselfish, great hustle plays, crashing the glass. They were shooting fairly well, and defensively, they were there, effort all night long. Their first round versus the Sixers was a fight. Josh Hart and Isaiah Hartenstein were huge in this series. They were killing them on the glass, and they were a huge reason why they won. Of course, DiVincenzo, Brunson, and a lot of the other guys played great as well. But the rebounding and just the extra effort from every player on the Knicks is what really brought them above the Sixers. The Sixers didn't quite have that in them. Now, the Pacers series was a lot more interesting than I'm sure most people expected. Both these teams were playing very well on both ends, and it was a very back and forth series. The Pacers moving Andrew Nembhard into the primary defender on Brunson was a great way to shake things up. Definitely made things a little bit harder for Brunson, but being the great scorer he is, he made the adjustments, he adapted, and he still contributed and impacted the game. I have to shout out TJ McConnell as well. He played great defensively on Brunson, as well as he was a huge impact offensively with his playmaking and his scoring. The Knicks desperately needed a healthy roster in this series, but mostly they just needed a consistent second option. A healthy Julius Randle would have made this series totally different. The Knicks would have probably came out. Randle would have been such a factor, especially on offense, giving the Knicks more options. It wouldn't allow the Pacers to just double Brunson and press him the entire game. And if they did so, Randle could attack the rotation and make a play from there. Just having another offensive player in the half court would have been huge for this Knicks team. Siakam is a consistent number 2, something the Knicks didn't have in this series, is what elevated this Pacers team over the shorthanded Knicks. Now let's talk Game 7 specifically. That was a great game. This Knicks squad though looked very beat up. Obviously had lots of injured players. 2 of their players, Josh Hart, OG, came into the game playing through injuries. OG played about 5 minutes in the first, and was out the rest of the game. It's unfortunate, but at least he tried. Josh Hart still played the entire game basically through his abdominal injury, but it wasn't enough. This Knicks team just needed a little bit more health, and it was very obvious that they were getting tired through this very physical series. Now, Coach Thibs was a little bit questionable at times, leaving guys in too long. I thought Alec Burks was huge, giving them the spark off the bench they needed, and he did not come in until I felt like it was too late. I feel he should have came back when they were making that run to start the third quarter. He could have potentially made that 6-point game into a tie game or shaken things up a little bit more. Now, Tom Thibodeau is a great coach. He's great at getting his players to buy in on both ends and play great basketball. But his weaknesses have come back to bite him multiple times throughout his coaching career. I don't think the Knicks need a new coach, but a healthy roster and a few better adjustments from their coaching staff could make a huge difference in the future. Another big thing was the little errors they made. Some timely turnovers that were answered by Pacers 3-pointers and shot making really made it impossible for them to come back in this game. Pacers roster shot so great and also played with great intensity and defense. Obviously, they're a great offensive team, and they showed that tonight. Constant shot making. They shot the best field goal percentage in Game 7 history. And honestly, it was amazing to watch, but as someone rooting for the Knicks, it was torture. Now, even though the Knicks season came to an end, this team is proof that you do not need a roster full of all-star players. They are very similar to Miami in that they have good coaching and a consistent culture / play style that is way more important than just signing a big three. Now, before we go, let's quickly talk about this team's future. The roster right now is full of players in their prime. If we take a look at the players now and their ages, they're all entering or in the prime of their careers. Most of these players have only been on the Knicks for a season or two. Now imagine this team with multiple years together to build chemistry and get healthy. They can be a consistent conference contender. Now, is a conference contender their limit, though? What do you think would need to change for them to be champions or to come out of the East? Let me know your thoughts down below. I also would not be surprised if the Knicks made more moves this offseason or at the next trade deadline. Because they made lots of small but very impactful moves this last season, I'm sure they'll look to do the same thing this year. They could even look to make more of a splash this season. Only time will tell. Any predictions for who they might make a move for? Let me know down below. If you made it this far and enjoyed, please leave a like because it helps out a ton. And I'll see you next time. Peace.